My Lord Honorable Justice Sam Koshi, my Lords Honorable Judges, Chairman of the Bar Council, Additional Solicitor General of India, Additional Advocates General, Public Prosecutor, President of the Telangana High Court Advocates Association, Registrars, Director of the Judicial Academy, Secretary of the Telangana State Legal Services Authority, Secretary of Law and Legislative Affairs, Government of Telangana, respected senior members of the bar, friends and family members of late K.Pratap Reddy. We have assembled in this full court in solemn remembrance of Sri K.Pratap Reddy, senior advocate, a towering figure in law, education, crusader of protection of human rights and public life. Sri K.Pratap Reddy had departed on 21st August 2025 at the age of 94. Today we pay homage to his extraordinary life, a life that was an epitome of professional excellence, social conscience and moral courage. Born on 11th April 1931 to Srimati K. Ramalakshmamma and K. Ramchandra Reddy in Portugal village of Mogulapalli Mandal, Warangal district, a traditional and respectable agriculturist family, Sri K. Pratap Reddy imbibed early the values of sacrifice and patriotism. His schooling in Lashkar Bazar High School, Hanamkonda, Warangal was in Urdu medium. In his formative years as a student, he was drawn to nationalist and socialist causes. He actively participated in the Vande Mataram movement and in the Hyderabad liberation struggle. Going underground during 1947-48, he joined his college only after the police action. He graduated in arts in the year 1951 and obtained his LLB from Osmania University in 1954. He was enrolled as an advocate in the erstwhile High Court of Hyderabad on 30th October 1956. The state of Andhra Pradesh was formed on 1st November 1956 by merging the state of Hyderabad and Andhra. He may be one of the last elderly persons who personally witnessed the erstwhile state of Hyderabad, the ordeals faced during the police action, and the eventual integration of Hyderabad into the Indian Union. He was designated as a senior advocate by the High Court of Andhra Pradesh on 21st August 1991. For more than 5 decades, he practiced across civil, criminal, constitutional, revenue, tenancy, waqf, and minority education laws, earning respect as a lawyer of great learning, courage, and clarity. He was elected twice to the Bar Council of Andhra Pradesh and President of the AP High Court Advocates Association in 1990. Sri K.Pratap Reddy was held in the highest esteem by the judiciary of the High Court, where he was regarded as a true leader of the bar. His reputation, however, was not confined to the High Court alone. He was equally revered in the district courts and Mufassil courts. His stature commanded respect not only among the judicial fraternity, but also among the wider population of Telangana, where his name was spoken of with great admiration and regard. In the course of his distinguished legal career, he made significant contributions to the development of Indian jurisprudence during its formative years in the post-independence era. Only to name a few, in A.V. Ramna and others versus Government of Andhra Pradesh 1982 APLJ, decided on 9th October 1980 by a full bench of the Honorable High Court of Andhra Pradesh, comprising of Acting Chief Justice Kuppuswamy, Justice Chennakeswar Reddy and Justice Jeevan Reddy. The petitioners were employees of the High Court and the Administrative Tribunal who had sought admission in the Evening Law College at Osmania University. Their grievance was that the presidential order issued under 371D restricted admissions for non-local candidates to only 15%, thereby placing them at a disadvantage. The key issue before the full bench was whether the Evening Law College, designed exclusively for the employed persons, would be treated as a part-time course of study exempt from the rigors of the presidential order. Sri K.Pratap Reddy, appearing for the university, advanced the central submission that the evening course was qualitatively different from full-time day courses. He emphasized that since it was created solely for working individuals who divided their time between employment and study, it must logically fall within the exception carved out under clause 11C of the presidential order. The Honorable Court held that the evening law college was indeed a part-time course of study and therefore outside the ambit of the presidential order's restrictions. This case remains a significant precedent in the interpretation of 371D and the presidential orders. It demonstrated Sri K.Pratap Reddy's constitutional vision and his ability to anchor arguments in the lived realities of working people. The judgment helped distinguishing the classification of regular courses in the universities where the rigors of 371D is applicable. His submissions reinforced his reputation as an advocate whose work went beyond the courtroom and into the realm of social justice and fairness. In the case of Chief Election Commissioner versus Alladi Rajkumar, reported in 1995 1 APLJ, a division bench on 4th December 1994, comprising Honorable Justice Syed Shagir Ahmed and Honorable Justice Venkatram Reddy, who later were elevated to the Supreme Court of India. The constitutional challenge was to the electoral democracy and for conducting of elections in the 4 districts. Dr. Alladi Rajkumar, a sitting Telugu Desam Party member of Parliament, had approached the High Court in the midst of elections to the Legislative Assembly. He sought countermanding of elections in 4 districts of Adilabad, Karimnagar, Nizamabad and Warangal on the ground that they were Naxal affected areas, alleging large-scale violence and the alleged inability of the Election Commission to conduct a free and fair poll. A learned single judge of the High Court, while entertaining the writ petition, passed an interim order requiring the Election Commission to keep the poll schedule under constant review and to monitor the law and order situation, leaving open the question of postponement. This order was immediately appealed by the Chief Election Commissioner under clause 15 of the latest patent. The central issue before the division bench was twofold. Firstly, whether such a writ petition was maintainable at all in view of the constitutional bar under 329B, which prohibits judicial interference in the electoral process, save through an election petition. And secondly, whether the interim order of the learned single judge would be characterized as judgment for purposes of appeal. At these critical junctures, Sri K.Pratap Reddy appeared as counsel intervening on behalf of 2 candidates, Sri M. Narasimha Reddy, a Congress candidate, and Sri M. Omkar, a Communist Party candidate, whose electoral prospects were directly at stake. With his characteristic foresight, he supported the submissions of the Election Commissioner, underscoring that once the election process has commenced, judicial interference, even under Article 226, would run contrary to the constitutional design. He pointed out that the Election Commission is vested with plenary powers under Article 324 to ensure free and fair elections, and that anxieties about violence must be addressed administratively by the Commission rather than judicially by preemptive writs. His intervention sharpened the focus on the rights of candidates, demonstrating that postponing elections would not only dilute constitutional discipline, but also unfairly prejudice those who had already entered the fray with good faith. Sri K.Pratap Reddy also contended on behalf of the 2 candidates from different political parties that the writ is filed by a candidate who has not toured the areas, does not hail from the said districts, hence his pleadings cannot be countenanced. The Honorable Division Bench allowed the appeal, setting aside the order of the learned single judge. It held that the writ petition itself was barred under 329B of the Constitution, and that the order passed therein was appealable as a judgment. More importantly, the court reaffirmed the primacy of the Election Commission in superintending elections, stressing that courts must adopt a hands-off approach until the election process is completed, after which aggrieved parties may avail election petitions. This case illustrates Sri K.Pratap Reddy's deep insight into Indian polity, having participated in the Vande Mataram movement and the liberation of the Hyderabad. By intervening on behalf of candidates, he safeguarded not just the immediate interests of those he represented, but also the larger principle of electoral stability. In the case of T.N. Sheshan, Chief Election Commissioner and others, versus M. Karunanidhi, President of the Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam Party, reported in 1995 SEC Online, decided on 22nd August 1995, by Honorable Justice Krishnacharan Srivastava of the High Court of Andhra Pradesh, the court was called upon to decide a series of interconnected applications arising out of civil suits that raised questions of defamation, cause of action and jurisdiction. Sri K.Pratap Reddy appeared for Srimati Rani Annadurai, wife of Sri C.N. Annadurai, the founder of the Dravidian movement in Tamil Nadu, in a civil suit filed by her seeking an injunction against the publication and distribution of the book titled T.N. Session, An Intimate Story, a biography of the former Chief Election Commissioner written by K. Govindan Kutty. The plaintiff alleged that the book contained defamatory statements against Sri C.N. Annadurai. The case was transferred to the Andhra Pradesh High Court at Hyderabad from Madras by order of the Honorable Supreme Court. The author challenged the leave granted to file the suit. However, this Honorable Court dismissed the interlocutory application seeking revocation of such leave to file the suit. In the case of K.Pratap Reddy versus Union of India and others, reported in 1997 SEC Online AP 1051 by Honorable Justice G. Pikshapati of the High Court of Andhra Pradesh, the court was confronted with an environmental public interest litigation highlighting the health and ecological hazards caused by unchecked industrial activity. The writ petition was filed by Sri K.Pratap Reddy himself, appearing as party in person in the nature of a public interest litigation. His grievance arose from the operations of several large-scale cement factories in Nalgonda district. He brought to the court's notice that agricultural lands, horticulture activity, and even public health in villages surrounding these industries were being gravely damaged by dust and pollutants discharged into the air and water. He pointed out that though pollution control equipment had been mandated, industries were either not installing them properly or failing to operate them effectively. On notice being issued, the AP Pollution Control Board admitted that cement industries by their very nature released large quantities of dust which can be injurious to human health, animals and crops. The board claimed that it was undertaking inspections and had directed industries to comply with emission standards. The cement industries on their part contended that they were operating within permissible limits and they had invested in pollution control equipment and there was no justification for constituting a new oversight body. They argued that any grievance would be redressed through periodic inspections by the existing statutory authorities. As petitioner in person, Sri K.Pratap Reddy's submissions reflected not merely the skill of a seasoned lawyer, but also the conscience of a public-spirited citizen. He demonstrated with clarity how statutory duties were not being effectively discharged and urged the court to constitute an independent monitoring committee to ensure accountability. His advocacy rested on the fundamental principle that environmental protection is inseparable from the right to life under Article 21. He balanced legal reasoning with a human perspective, vividly portraying the plight of farmers, villagers, and ordinary citizens living under the shadow of industrial dust. The Honorable Court recognized the gravity of the situation. It held that while it was not inclined to constitute a separate committee, the concerns raised by the petitioner were legitimate and required immediate redressal within the existing statutory framework. The court therefore issued binding directions to the Pollution Control Board to conduct inspections of cement industries at least once every 3 months, to take strict action wherever violations were noticed, and to undertake surprise checks whenever complaints were received from affected persons. It also directed the government to instruct its officers to extend full cooperation and ensure enforcement of environmental standards. This case stands as an example of Sri K.Pratap Reddy's unique stature, an advocate who would step beyond the role of a counsel and take on the mantle of a public-spirited litigant in pursuit of justice. His effort is personally moving the court highlighted his lifelong commitment to social causes, human rights and public welfare. Even in a matter as technical as environmental law, he combined deep legal knowledge with empathy for the affected communities, ensuring that the Honorable Court's intervention brought tangible relief. In the case of B. Muralidhar Reddy versus Government of Andhra Pradesh, Reported in 2006 SEC Online AP 718, a division bench of the Honorable High Court of Andhra Pradesh, comprising Honorable Justice G.S. Singhvi and Honorable Chief Justice G.S. Singhvi and Honorable Justice G.V. Sitapati, the court called upon to test the constitutional validity of restrictions imposed on the location of liquor shops under the AP excise rules. The case arose from GOs 598 dated 26 May 2006, which amended Rule 27(1) of the AP Excise Lease of Right and Selling by Shop and Conditions of License Rules 2005. The amendment prohibited liquor shops from being established within 100 meters of schools, places of public worship and hospitals. It also extended these restrictions to areas within municipal corporations where previously distance rules had been more relaxed. This policy change was part of the state's effort to bring liquor regulation in line with public health consideration. Several liquor vendors and license holders whose businesses were directly affected approached the High Court through writ petitions. The government, on the other hand, defended the measure as a well-considered policy decision grounded in Article 47 of the Constitution, which mandates the states to endeavor to bring about prohibition of intoxicating liquors and to improve public health. In these important matters, Sri K.Pratap Reddy was appointed amicus curiae by the court to assist in resolving the constitutional questions. His submissions were marked by depth, balance, and fidelity to constitutional principles. He drew the court's attention to Article 47, observing that regulation of liquor was not merely a matter of administrative convenience, but a constitutional obligation aimed at protecting public health and morals. He criticized the dilution of distance restrictions in the past, arguing that proximity of liquor shops to schools, hospitals, and places of worship adversely affected the social fabric and disproportionately harmed vulnerable communities. The division bench undertook a detailed examination of the jurisprudence on liquor regulation. It reiterated that citizens have no fundamental right to trade in intoxicating liquor. Instead, the right to deal in liquor is one conferred by the state, subject to stringent regulation or even prohibition. The court rejected the plea of discrimination, holding that shops and bars form distinct classes governed by separate statutory rules and that different treatment did not amount to violation of Article 14. The judgment reaffirmed that liquor trade is not a matter of right but one of privilege subject to state's discretion. Sri K.Pratap Reddy's role was pivotal in contextualizing the issue within the framework of the directive principles and in reminding the court that constitutional governance requires the state to prioritize social welfare over commercial claims. The clarity and conviction with which Sri K.Pratap Reddy discharged his role as amicus curiae exemplified his stature at the bar, his ability to transcend adversarial positions and assist the court in the larger public interest. It was a moment that highlighted his commitment to the constitutional moral vision, where law becomes an instrument of social reforms as much as of dispute resolution. Sri K.Pratap Reddy's greatness, however, was not confined to his individual practice. He was also appointed as chairman of the Commission of Inquiry in 1997 to examine alleged atrocities of Naxalites and excesses of the police. His report was accepted by the government and directed to be implemented by the Honorable High Court. Furthermore, he trained over 150 juniors, nurturing generations of lawyers, many of whom went on to become judges of the Supreme Court and High Court, senior advocates, Advocate General, and even members of Parliament. Among them are luminaries such as Justice B. Sudarshan Reddy, who was Chief Justice of the Guwahati High Court and Supreme Court, retired, former Advocate General Sri D. Prakash Reddy, who is also his son-in-law, Member of Parliament and Senior Advocate Sri S. Niranjan Reddy, Senior Advocates N. Vasudeva Reddy, Senior Advocate Sri Muddu Vijay, and Senior Advocate Sri Avinash Desai, who is also his grandson. His juniors recall him with great fondness and reverence, along with his emphasis on ethics, discipline, and the nobility of the profession. Sri K.Pratap Reddy was a multifaceted gentleman with a genuine interest in the profession of law. His guidance was not confined to his juniors alone. He would observe other lawyers in the court and advise them as well. I have a fond memory of this great man. Long before I was designated as senior advocate, he called me into his chambers and encouraged me to apply for senior designation, assuring me that he would himself propose my name. Beyond his remarkable legal acumen, what stands out most is his large-heartedness. For him, his practice of law was not merely about his own success. He was genuinely concerned about the growth and well-being of the bar. Sri K.Pratap Reddy was also deeply committed to the cause of human rights and civil liberties. He served as a member of the Tarkunde Committee of Citizens for Democracy, set up under the leadership of Justice V.M. Tarkunde. His dedication to civil liberties further led him to join the People's Union of Civil Liberties founded by Jayaprakash Narayan in 1976, where he went on to serve as president of the state unit. His public life reflected his deep commitment to democracy, socialism and human rights. He was one of the founder members of the Janata Party. K.Pratap Reddy subsequently became the vice president of the AP State Janata Party. He also served as the president of the Citizen for Democracy, president of the Vigil India movement for over 3 decades, and was also a member of the Amnesty International. As the current All India president of Vigil India movement before he passed away, which has various branches spread across the country for the last 3 years, they have been giving an award of 1 lakh to organizations and individuals striving for human rights. His interventions after the demolition of the Babri Masjid demolition, his secular spirit and his uncompromising commitment to harmony and prevention of communal conflicts. Education was another sphere where his imprint is indelible. He served as chairman of AV College of Arts and Science and Commerce for more than 20 years. I was also a student of AV College. He was a trustee of several educational organizations, including Mahila Abhyudaya Trust, and guided minority institutions like Deccan Medical and Engineering Colleges, Mufakam Jaw College, Anwar Ulum College, and Madina Educational Society. His belief in women's equality and empowerment found expression in his long association with various women's organizations and educational trusts. In addition to law and public life, he was a voracious reader till the very end, with a wide range of interests spanning law, history, religion, mythology, geopolitics, literature, and social sciences. He loved sports, having played cricket, kabaddi, volleyball, and hockey in his youth, and was an admirer of art, culture, and music, being associated with organizations such as Tyagaraya Gana Sabha and the Kuchipudi Dance Academy. He authored several articles on law and social issues, leaving behind a wealth of thought and reflection. Sri K.Pratap Reddy was also extended an invitation to join the bench, but he respectfully declined the request owing to his political commitments. His secular outlook, deep learning, and courage of conviction ensured that he remained a voice of principle throughout his career. On his personal front, he was married to late Srimati Sujata Devi. He is survived by his son and 2 daughters. Sri D. Prakash Reddy is elder son-in-law. Jayant is his younger son-in-law, and Jayant and I are classmates in school. Jayant's daughter and his son-in-law are also practicing lawyers in Amravati, Andhra Pradesh. Son Vijaypal Reddy is an industrialist, and his grandson Avinash Desai is a senior counsel practicing in the High Court of Telangana. Sri K.Pratap Reddy's life is a testimony to how one individual can leave an enduring mark across so many spheres: the law, human rights, education, and public service. His passing is not merely a personal loss to his family, but a great void for the legal fraternity, for civil society, and for all those who believe in justice, equality, and democracy. On behalf of the entire legal fraternity, I convey our heartfelt condolences to the bereaved family. May his soul rest in eternal peace, and may his legacy continue to inspire generations of lawyers and citizens alike.
My esteemed sister and brother judges, Shri Narasimha Sharma, the Additional Solicitor General, Shri A. Sudarshan Reddy, the Learned Advocate General, Shri Narasimha Reddy, the Chairman, Bar Council of Telangana, President, Telangana High Court Bar Association, all the learned senior advocates, members of the Bar, Learned Registrar General, the Registrars of the High Court, Director of the Judicial Academy, Member Secretary, Telangana State Legal Services Authority, Secretary, High Court Legal Aid Committee, family members of late Shri K.Pratap Reddy, members from the press and media, ladies and gentlemen. We have assembled here to pay tribute to a towering figure, late K.Pratap Reddy, a towering figure in the field of law, human rights and educational areas in the state of Telangana, who left for his heavenly abode on the 21st of August 2025 at the age of 94. His illustrious career was marked by an unwavering commitment to justice, public service and social equity. He was born to late Srimati K. Rama Lakshmamma and late Shri K. Ramchandra Reddy on 11th of April 1931 in Portugal, Warangal district. He did his schooling, intermediate and graduation at Hanamkonda in an Urdu medium school. He pursued his LLB from the Osmania University, Hyderabad. He got enrolled as an advocate in the year 1958 in the composite state. He practiced for over 55 years in various areas of law, including civil, constitution, human rights, revenue, minority education, tenancy laws, etc. That apart, he was also a lecturer in college for 3 years. Acknowledging his profound legal acumen, he was designated as a senior advocate on the 21st of August 1991. It has been known that he has trained more than 150 juniors from his chamber, many of whom have gone on to become judges of the High Court and the Supreme Court. He has served 2 terms as the member of the Composite Bar Council of Andhra Pradesh. He was the president of the Composite AP High Court Bar Association in the year 1991. He was an active participant in the anti-emergency movement. He was the president of the People's Union for Civil Liberties, Andhra Pradesh State, in the year 2016. He was chairman of AV College of Arts, Science and Commerce for about 30 years. He was a member of the Trust Board of Mahila Abhyuday Trust. He was a staunch human rights activist and committed socialist and associated with Citizens for Democracy. Late Shri K.Pratap Reddy was always kind and supporting to the members of the bar and has also held in high esteem and commanded great respect from the bench, the bar, the litigants across the country. His steadfastness to the ethics and the standards in the profession made him an ideal to emulate as an honest lawyer for the legal fraternity. I, on my own behalf, as well as on behalf of my sister and brother judges, acknowledge and appreciate the indispensable legacy laid by him to the legal fraternity. We convey our heartfelt condolences to his son, Shri K. Vijaypal Reddy, daughter Srimati D. Geeta Reddy and Srimati T. Anita Reddy. We also convey our heartfelt condolences to Shri D. Prakash Reddy, senior advocate and son-in-law of late Shri Pratap Reddy. We also express our condolences to Shri Avinash Desai, senior advocate and grandson of late Shri Pratap Reddy, and all the relatives and friends and well-wishers to bear this irreparable loss. As a mark of respect for the departed soul, we shall observe a silence for 2 minutes. The judicial work shall stand suspended for the rest of the day.